Okay, guys, it's Wednesday night. Keith is with me at Ethan Ryan on Twitter, as well as link will be down below if you want to follow him on Twitter. It's been a crazy 24 hours, Keith. It's been a fucking ridiculously crazy 24 hours for this club and for the 6 clubs, really. But really for Liverpool, that's all we care about. What do you think? I mean, Liverpool, I think they're still going. There has to be some sort of a slap coming in from the Premier League and maybe UEFA. But I heard today there mightn't be, actually.
Don't know.
What do you think?
I don't know if there's going to be a slap now, to be honest with you. I think there was a window of opportunity to get the fuck out of Dodge before sanctions starts to come down. And that's it now. There's such a groundswell of disapproval of the entire thing that I don't know. I don't know. It's not going to be a points or a competition thing. It could very well just be a very large fine for the inconvenience, something along those lines, paid out over a number of years. So it doesn't actually really affect anybody. It could be something like that if they're going to go down. If they're going to go down that route, but it's like ultimately it's kind of like, you know, it's kind of like splitting up with your missus kind of thing. You know, like we're talking about FSG out, right?
Yeah.
We're talking about like the groundswell of opinion now at the moment is that FSC, we need to get them out the door, right? Now, I've tried to be very pragmatic about the entire thing, in terms of what does it mean? Why is it there? Why has it happened? Why are we where we are? You know, it's not just down to the club's grade. There's a huge amount of other things in play here. So, and when we start to look forward, it is so easy to turn around and say, you know, let's just bin them out and let's just force them out and let's just, you know, protest and do as much as we can to get them out the door. But like what's the alternative out there? You know, when you look at it, you start doing like a big SWOT analysis of the club, right? And you kind of go, okay, what's in the credit and what's in the debit? And in the debit side, they really fucked up here. They fucked up over ticket pricing. They fucked up over furlough, right?
Yeah.
And they dragged our name down into the fucking mud and they've gone against all of our principles, right? That's absolutely there, and that's in the fucking debit side. And then you look at the credit side, you kind of go, well, okay, they took us on when Jix and, you know, Hicks and Gillette were there, right? So they got us out of that. They've now established us now as being, again, a top side in Europe. We've got 2 very big trophies. We've got Klopp. We've been playing some of the best football we've ever seen as fans, right? And that's in the debit side. So you bin that out, and who comes in, right? And who comes in next? And as we spoke about just before we came online, who the fuck has got 5 billion out there in the pandemic? You know, like, and the only people who really have 5 billion is, as we said, it's an oligarch of some description, or it's a conglomerate from the Middle East, or it's a nation, right, who has that kind of money to throw into a football club, right? Or it's a hedge fund out of the US. So, like, all you're doing is basically saying, right, we're going to bin you out because we didn't like what thing you've done, and then we're going to bring in somebody else. And within 6 months, they're probably going to be doing something to recuperate their profit, and it's the same thing again. So it is not that clear cut. It is not that clear cut. It's like, you know, having a divorce with your missus and kind of going, well, listen, I'm going. And she's like, well, you know, what about the kids? I'm going. But, you know, we've got a mortgage here. Fuck, I'm going. You know, but we're paying havo on the car. You know, but I'm going. You just can't do it. You can't just turn around overnight and say, right, fuck off and get somebody else in. You know, 5 billion. If you look at the Redboard investments of half a billion, 585 million for 10%, that values us in around 5 billion.
That's what I'm saying. 5 billion, yeah.
Yeah, okay. And you think FSG are going to turn around and say, right, we're in fire sale territory here, so we let you go for 2? You know, that's not going to happen.
No. But the thing about it is, Keith, you have to throw emotion into it. Now, there's been a lot of emotion in the last 48 hours. It will die down, of course, but FSG out, all this type of thing. As you said, who has 5.5 billion? It's over 5 billion in their back pocket to spend on a club in the middle of COVID. Nobody.
Yeah.
I think the long-term strategy of FSG is to stay for a few years, eventually get out. But that Redboard capital are coming in the back to buy 10%, maybe another 10% next year, another 10%, get the 51 to 52% controlling stake, and then they'll buy the bleeding club. I think that was the idea. Now, maybe they knew about this fucking Super. They must have known about this Super League, because they've only come into it in the last month or 2. They must have known about it. You know what I mean?
When you think about the information that's coming out, and it's like, right, Mike Gordon didn't know anything about it, or, you know, Billy Hogan didn't know anything about it, and it's something that's all being done. And this is the rhetoric coming out. It's all being done from John, right, and probably Tom. and they've just taken an absolute fucking flyer on it. So, you know, it is the move over the next couple of days where effectively those two take a backseat out, right, and say, right, you know, we're not going to be involved in the football club anymore. Somebody else steps to the fore, and there's a bit of a PR exercise that goes some way towards appeasing the fans. And the next thing then is you see some, you know, over the next, I don't know, couple of weeks in terms of, well, you know, we've signed this on a pre-contract, we've signed them on a pre-contract, and there's so much stuff that goes on behind the road, or maybe there's some ground extension or something else that comes out, you know, to try and appease the fans. Because ultimately, right, ultimately, we're a fickle fucking bunch, no matter what way you look at it. And if you throw enough money at it in terms of personnel or something, and listen, that's probably doing us all a bit of a disservice, and it is doing us a bit of a disservice. But you know, is there a middle ground out there whereby we kind of say, right, let's get John out the back door, let's get Tom out the back door, because they haven't got a fucking clue what we think, and we start positioning people into the club who actually, you know, give a shit about us and move that forward. So there's going to be a huge amount of stuff that's going to go on behind the scenes over the next couple of weeks that, you know, moves us back towards. But I think in the short to medium term, FSG don't go out the door. And to be honest with you, in the short to medium term, I don't fucking want FSG going out the door, because I think that opens us up to, I don't know, fucking Steve Morgan coming in, or fucking, you know, some Taiwanese lad comes in with a load of fucking cash, and what's that?
Yeah.
You know,
see, the problem is you want to be careful what you wish for. I mean, you know what I mean?
Be careful what you wish for. Yeah.
That's the big issue for me. Now, I know there's emotion going around. It was all over Twitter yesterday. It's in Twitter today, actually. And it's probably even in the comments here tonight. But you can't just have a throwaway. You can't just have a throwaway comment, you know. And anyway, Keith, as you just said, people are fickle. I mean, you're only as good as your last game in this fucking game. You don't care about what you did last year or 2 years ago. It doesn't matter. They're even calling us legacy fans, by the way. I'm a legacy fan. But
this does matter. You know, what's happened over the last 48 hours does matter.
Fucking right, it matters. Yeah. This like the furlough was bad enough. Let's say the furlough was the furlough back summer, a pandemic. You know, all the money sitting, drinking their wine, eating their steaks over in Boston or wherever they live. I think it's in Boston, and worrying about furloughing a few players or a few staff, low-level staff, actually. You know, and that was bad. I mean, if they didn't get the sentiment, the feeling from the fact, that's where I don't get it. Like, this is more than egg on the face. This is a brand. Liverpool's a brand now. It's more than a brand to us. It's historical and stuff like that. But the brand was hurt. It was damaged. It was damaged for the 6 teams. Fuck's sake. Worldwide, it was damaged. So I can't understand the idiots that were working behind the scene. Did the 6 of them just have a few drinks sitting around the table or a Zoom call, having a few cans and get pissed and decide this? Because it sounds like they made a complete fucking bollocks of it.
Even at that level, you know, it's very the group dynamic in terms of, you know, one very strong person in there who thinks, and it could have been Perez trying to influence the Yanks, and the Yanks haven't spent enough time over there. I think Alan probably alluded to it in a comment there a second ago that I just picked up on. You know, they've never spent enough time over here to really understand, you know.
Well, they never do, really. Well, they're a good bit awake. They have other businesses anyway over there.
Of course you do. Of course you do.
You know what I mean?
You know, but like the other thing, you know, that I'm kind of thinking about as well is that, okay, so fair enough. Somebody else kind of gets positioned into them. There's no guarantee at all that they're ever going to. And like what people are forgetting about as well, and because our owners are there and we see them and we know exactly who they are, right? From the top down, because we invest in the club and we know who does the day-to-day running of the club. We know who does the from Edwards up to Gordon, you know, up to Hogan, up to Werner, up to Henry. We know them all, and we know all about them, and we know where they are, and they're faceless, and we can see them, right? Yet the people who make the decisions with Sky or UEFA or FIFA, outside of the 1 or 2 people who stand up when the draw is being made, the rest of them are fucking faceless, and they're not people that we can attach to or we can go after. So this is like literally been a perfect storm of 30 years since the birth of the Premier League in terms of fans being shat on. Now is an opportunity to go back against it, and unfortunately, the most accessible people out there are the owners of the club.
Yeah, but the thing about it is, as you just said there, UEFA, FIFA, Sky Sports, BT Sports, the Premier League itself, Think about it. When the Premier League was set up, that was set up to fuck all the rest of the effort to make the Championship, League One, League Two, the Conference League, all the other leagues in England. Yeah. Fuck you. This is an elite league. This is the Premier League, baby. Premier means elite. That's what Premier means. Yeah. You know what I mean? So they originally started this early 90s. Then the Champions League came in to make it Champions League. It's an elite level here. And remember, the Champions League is based on coefficients. The bigger team you were, the more successful team you were, you have a higher coefficient. You'll have a better chance of being in the fucking thing and getting a better seeding. It's not random. It's not a fucking cup competition like the old European Cup where you can be drawn out against anybody like the FA Cup. That's gone, Keith. That's elitism in itself. No, that's elitism. And that's why I have a problem with fellas going on the thing saying UEFA are brilliant and FIFA are brilliant. They are absolutely not. Prawn sandwich boys, these boys are. And FSG are probably similar. It's a bloody business, and this is what they do. And no matter who you get in as an owner, there will be a bottom line. They'll want to make money. I just think FSG have made a complete fucking bollocks of this now. They've made a bollocks of it.
Yeah, I've no issue. I've no issue with running a club like a business. It has to be run like a business nowadays. If you're getting that amount of people into a ground, whether it's 60, 70, 80,000 people, you're selling shirts all around the world. You know, you've got rights around the world. You're competing at the top level, and everybody's competing at the top level. I've absolutely no issue with a facet of the club purely looking after business interests. Yeah. You know, when it comes to decisions like this, you know, which do affect, to go off and take an absolute fucking flyer at it and not include anybody. Now we're taking that as, you know, as what happened in terms of, no, the two boys.
The truth will come out anyway. The truth will come out about this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I know Madrid, where you could say they would, that Perez fella, I wouldn't trust him as far as I could throw him anyway, even before this. I never liked him. You know, he's the number one. Everyone's saying I think the Glazers were number two. They were the other pushers at United. I would believe that. And the others came in. But listen, they're all as in, you know, at the same level. They all agreed to join, let's be fair. So the six of them are in on it together, basically.
Madrid are what, 900 million, nearly $1 billion in debt. Barcelona
are worse.
Yeah, you know, and you know, United are $500 million in debt. Yeah. So you can understand those clubs looking for it. But generally we're well ran from a commercial perspective. We're well ran. You know, we're excelling and performing and delivering trophies off the back of a well run business.
Yeah.
You know, so why the fuck, and then if we are that, why aren't we the first person dropping the fuck out and saying, right, this wasn't for us. Sorry, we just thought we were, you know, we thought everybody else was doing it. We were afraid to miss the bus. We made a mistake. No, they didn't do that. Yeah. They said, listen, we were going to go ahead and do this, but, you know, we didn't realize that the fans didn't realize but we were all right with this. We just didn't realize the fans weren't going to join it.
All they had to do was look at YouTube. All they had to do was look at the YouTube, the Liverpool channels, the likes of Redmen TV, even us, and any bloody channel, and watch it for maybe an hour, and they would have copped on to say, hold on, maybe it's a bad idea, lads. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's be real. And they didn't learn from the furlough. So they already tested the water there, and they got their finger burned. This time they put their bleeding hand in, they got their hand burned. Like, you know what I mean? But the other thing that I have to say, and I ranted about it last night, and they seem to be getting away with it, and they're a cancer on the football worldwide, is agents. I'm telling you, Keith, those bloody agents, especially the super agents, like your man Mina Raiola, who have about 10 or 20 of the biggest stars, the likes of Messi, Ronaldo, all the big Haaland now looking for make him $1 million a week player. Do you know what he's saying? That's obscene in itself. That's what FIFA and UEFA have asked. Plus, the Premier League asking billionaire owners to come into the league.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's no one washing their hands free of this, I can tell you that much. Those agents as well. Wow.
Clubs, because of the money they're making, are paying those fees to give themselves some sort of a competitive advantage on the pitch. Or they think it's giving themselves a competitive advantage in the overall, you know, the overall competition for eyeballs around the world by having these big players. And what it's now turning out to be is that it's not a sustainable strategy over the long term, because you put yourself into significant debt. And there's only so many assets you can sell from Barcelona's perspective, from Real's perspective, to do that and to continue to fund that. You know, it's not sustainable. It's like a bubble. It's like a housing bubble within a market. And we, you know,
Yeah,
we were
yeah,
told of the same thing. It's just not sustainable. You can't just keep fucking money in. You just can't keep throwing money in, throwing in money.
yeah,
You
yeah.
know, because it's going to come back to bite you in the arse. Now, but they're now doing the same, right? We need a larger slice of the pie. You know, off the back of the mistakes that we've been making over the last 10 to 15 years, and that's what they're looking for. They're looking for a bailout. They're effectively looking for a EU fucking bailout for their mistakes in the marketplace from running their own businesses.
And I mean, even look at the Champions League, the new format, the 36 teams, the like leagues. It's basically like a league. There's 10 teams in each league or something, and you play home and away. Sure, that's as bad. You know what I mean? And they got that thrown in. You know what I mean? So, I mean, it's crazy shit going on.
We discussed it last night. I suppose I was only on for about half an hour, but I discussed it last night saying, you know, there's a bit more jeopardy, I suppose, a bit more jeopardy in the FIFA. In other words, they've probably thought, well, you know, we need to make sure that we maintain that degree of jeopardy in our system, more jeopardy than was in the Super League system. Yeah. But, you know, you're kind of splitting fucking hairs, really, in terms of they're both Swiss style. They both, you know, they both kind of say, right, you're going to be playing against the top clubs more often. There's a little bit less jeopardy. There's more games. We don't really give a fuck about the fans having to travel to these places. We don't really give a fuck about the players having to play more games, you know. And so, like,
it's crazy. It's fucking crazy. I mean, the money eventually, money does ruin things, but you need money in the game. If you want top players, if you want your Mbappe, you want your Haaland, you want your even Sancho or your Kanate or whoever you want, you need bleeding money. Now, let's be real here. Big money.
Okay, when you look at it, right? So all the top players in the world for years, and this might change, but at the moment, if you get a really top player in, his first, you know, place, particularly if he's from South America or even Africa, his first place he wants to play, if he has a choice of anywhere, is Spain, is Real Madrid, is Barcelona, right? Maybe PSG because the amount of money they throw at him, right? And that's the kind of the way. So you then got all the other clubs then trying to compete on that level, right? And the only way they can compete on that level to bring a player, you know, who wants to play in the sunshine in Madrid to Manchester to Liverpool, you know, it's because you throw a huge amount of money on him, or you have a Klopp in there who sells a player a dream of winning lots of trophies and working underneath him because he's professional, right? So, like, it is not like, you know, it's completely, there's so many factors and variables in play in terms of that it's so difficult to regulate it from a, you know.
But what do we do, Keith? I mean, where do FSG go? I think they're going to stay. As I said, I think they're going to probably stay away from the ground, for that's a fact, but they'll stay. They're not going to sell. I mean, the price will have gone down. You don't sell a car when, you know, you just bought it and you have it a year, because the price goes straight down. They're going to hold on and see what they can try build it up, especially with Redbird Capital coming in. But I think they're going to invest this summer now. I think they're going to have to. They're going to have to. I always said this was the season FSG will have to. I said it in the last 10 podcasts we've done since Christmas, that FSG, this is the big summer. This is well before we knew anything about these Super Leagues. This was the summer, because we've had such weird transfer windows when you think about it, since we've won the European Cup, haven't we?
Like,
and this was the big summer.
I would slightly question the 585 for 10%. I would slightly question the valuation of Liverpool being at 5 billion. To be honest with you,
that's just a valuation. That's a market valuation, by the way. That's a market valuation.
Yeah, and the market valuation we're basing it off is the fact that
somebody's down. Probably gone down now. Probably gone down.
Yeah.
I'm just sending somebody. I'm just sending someone a link here.
Yeah,
right. Anyway,
so 585 million, right? So therefore, you would say, right, the value of the club is 5 billion. Now, I don't think the club realistically is valued at 5 billion, and the valuation of the club is, and there could be loads of different reasons why it's 585 for 10%. There could be lots of different reasons and lots of parts of the contract, right? So if we say they bought it for what, 300 million, and the club is valued, and I thought the last realistic
3
valuation,
billion, I'd say 10 times though.
1.4, 1.5, maybe we're up to 2, maybe we're up to 2 and a bit. There's the valuation of the club, right? So you put the valuation of the club at 2 and a bit billion, right? Now, who out there has 2 and a bit billion just to throw at us to take the club off our hands? And if we say
Red Bull Capital got us at 10% for 530 million.
Yeah, so
10%. That was a nice deal, wasn't it?
No, it's 10%. Yeah.
Yeah. 5.3 billion then, market value. Fuck's sake. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, we're not worth that.
From a club that was 360, I think it was 360 million 10 years ago. Fuck it hell.
But
Nobody's worth that.
Even if you cut that in half, right, and just cut it in half and say, right, we're worth 2.5 billion as an entity, right? Like, what we also have to do is say, right, anybody who comes along and is interested in buying the club, who carries out the due diligence in terms of that owner? Are we relying on the EPL to carry out that due diligence? Are we relying on FSG to do their proper due diligence in terms of having to sell the club off from one entity to another entity? Everyone needs to just fucking take a massive chill pill here and say, right, okay, they might not be here for the long term, but you work with them in terms of saying, right, smooth transition of ownership from one to another. You can't just start.
Well, I think they'll be here until Klopp's here, 2024, which is another 3 years. That's what I think. That was always the plan, I would say. And then a smooth transition of a manager, whoever it is coming in, maybe Gerrard, I don't know, maybe even Pep Linders and Gerrard, something like that. I think that was the plan. Now, all this could go belly up. I mean, I don't know what UEFA or the Premier League are going. They're going to have to do something, Keith. You're going to have to slap them. You can't just say, sorry, lads, you made a mistake. Forget about it, because this was pretty, I don't know whether you want to say nasty. It was it was like doing the dirt, basically, in your best mate. Let's be real here.
Okay, but Man City
wasn't it? It was like doing the dirt, your best mate. Come on.
Man City were proven to do the dirt, right?
Who?
Man City were proven to do the dirt, okay? In terms of their accounts, in terms of how they manage their business, in terms of transfer. They were fucking found out.
That's right? Okay. They were on a stag. They got away with it, baby. You know what I mean? Yeah, they were on a stag.
Maybe it's Air Henry. Maybe it's Air Hendu.
Well, maybe.
So, I don't expect any sanctions from UEFA, because UEFA pretty much turned around and said,
the FFP, remember?
You've got a window of opportunity here, lads, to come to your senses, and we'll welcome you back into the fold. That was pretty much the rhetoric from UEFA, and then everybody dropped at that stage. I haven't really heard an awful lot from the EPL. So, what if they do one, they have to do all 6. So.
Yeah, no, that's the plan. But no, all 12, you mean? Well, all 12 by UEFA. But the other thing, what?
UEFA aren't going to do anything, by the way. UEFA are going to say, all right, fair enough, lads. You came to your senses, come back in. Let's deal. Let's sit down. Let's get around the table and make sure this doesn't happen again. That's what UEFA does.
I would say UEFA probably said to the likes of Chelsea, Real Madrid, and Chelsea were the first to pull out. So I'm just thinking, did UEFA say to Chelsea, listen, you keep this up, you're getting dropped. That semi-final's not going ahead against Madrid. That's it. It's just not going ahead. Bang.
I think the decision. I think that when I think they all got around, they were all probably on a Zoom call, and they all said, "Right, lads, we're backing out of this." And once they all said they were backing out of this, they were, they were all going at the same time, and it was a managed retreat, giving them enough time to get their own stuff out the door before somebody else put their own stuff out the door, because they all wanted to get their message out there, and the messages were slightly different, but it was a managed retreat, no matter what way you look at it.
Yeah, as you said, I mean, it's no use fining, it's actually fine. You can fine the owners and stuff, but that's money again. But it's no use taking points off them or stopping them playing cup competitions, because then you're actually damaging the fans, and you're damaging the players who had nothing to do with it. You're damaging the management, the football manager like Klopp and his. They had nothing to do with it either. It's specifically the owners. And some of the CEOs apparently had nothing to do with it. You know that, don't you? They weren't even told. It was just basically the owners. So it's a weird one, you know?
You know it is. But what you're looking at is one of the bodies passing down, right? Basically standing up there and saying, right, we are whiter than white, holier than thou. And we are going to sit here now and pass sentence on you, and basically just kind of reinforcing.
I'll be the judge.
Everything they've done to the detriment of the game in terms of organising. All of this stuff falls off the back of just inequality across the board, right? But they're basically saying, right, we don't give a flying fuck that we've organised FA Cup matches or FA Cup semi-finals at Wembley against Northwestern teams, that kick off at 7 o'clock at night and the last train goes up at fucking 8 o'clock at night. We don't give a fuck about that. We really don't give a fuck about that. But here we are in our ivory tower, and we're going to sit here and we're going to pass judgments upon you because you made a decision to do something left or right. And that's kind of what you're looking at, So, and are we as fans going to be happy enough to take that and say, we're happy enough as Liverpool fans for our club to take a hit of, a 10-point deduction or a...
Yeah, there's no chance of Champions League next year. You're banned from the Champions League even if you get into it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So...
To see, that's the problem. How can you punish a club when without punishing the fans basically of that club? How do you punish a club without punishing the fans and the players of that club? That's very hard.
It's financial.
I don't know how you do it.
Big fine. Big fine. A big fine.
Yeah, but that if you give up, say, £100 million fine, something like that, 50 million, whatever.
That's not. You've never seen that in the history of the game.
Like, I know, it's never. No.
Even City didn't have to come up with £100 million fine.
No, you know, it'd be probably. I doubt it'd be over 10 million. To be fair, I doubt it. But I don't know. What?
Could be $1 million.
Swiss francs. It's usually Swiss francs.
Looks like a big number.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. How do you do it? I just don't know how. It's a quandary. It's a fucking. It's a. We got ourselves. Well, the owners basically. It wasn't us. It's the owners got themselves into it. They've got to get themselves fucking out of it. What did you think of John W. Henry's 2 or 3 minutes, 2.5 minutes fucking sorry? Well, I suppose at least he did it. I don't think anybody else did it. At least he did it, but I mean, still no good. But at least he fucking did it. That's all I can say about that one. But apology's an apology, but it's too late. The damage is done, basically. You know what I mean?
The only good thing about that is that I suppose he took up and he took sole responsibility for it. So he took absolute sole responsibility for the whole thing. So from that perspective, fine. I thought the release from the club last night, having told people that a statement was going to be released, was just appalling. Now, you know, if they had needed more time to consider a response or to get a video together, they should have just said there'll be a video or there'll be an announcement from our chairman tomorrow morning first thing, and that's it. But to come out with that kind of holding statement, I thought was just, you know, it was just a nothing. It was an absolute nothing, and it actually made things worse. It made people probably made people more entrenched in terms of their opinion. To be honest with you, it didn't help anything in terms of, listen, lads, give us a little bit of space here to come at you. So, listen, I thought he did what he kind of had to do.
With a gun to his head, you know what I mean? That's the problem. You know what I mean? And it looked like he was in a funeral home. the death of football, basically, because he was in a funeral home doing the video. But I mean, it's just, it came out of nowhere. I know people are saying it was always going to happen. I seen a video in 2004, actually, a BBC interview, if you've seen it, of your man talking about a Super League in Europe that's eventually going to happen in, say, 20 years. He was almost on the button. But everybody could see that coming. And it probably still will happen, Keith, in 5 or 10 years. In 5 or 10 years. It was the way they did it. That's the fucking problem I have. The concept of a Super League and elitism is like a monarchy type of thing. You know what I mean? Just because you're a top team and a top player and you've won a certain amount of trophies. But how the fuck? And you have a certain amount of Twitter, Instagram followers, you're a big team.
Well, listen, you know what I mean? The Champions League is like that anyway.
I know that, but people are saying like Spurs and Arsenal. But actually, Spurs and Arsenal have decent. They're not on about who followed them in England. They're on about who followed them outside England. Yeah. That's the point.
But when's the last time you saw a Nottingham Forest and Aston Villa, Red Star Belgrade? You know, one of these.
Early 80s.
Yeah, you know, but like that was the European Cup. That was the magic of the European Cup. That was the. You know,
that's what I said. You're picked out of a fucking. You're picked out of a hat.
Really good run in a cup competition.
You're picked out of a hat. It was random.
Yeah.
That's why it's so hard to win the fucking Champions League. Yeah. Because when even at group level, you'll have two teams. You know the way the seeding is, as the way the international football is as well. It's a joke. Do you think that Nations League's a fucking joke? It's a joke. UEFA and FIFA are a joke as well. So they certainly can't stand on their high horse and say, we're all this, we love the fans. Cop on, will you? You haven't liked the fans for years.
And that is why I think everyone could get an absolute free pass away from this, in terms of they're all realising that, you know what?
Hypocrites, baby.
If they come on hard on the clubs, the attention and the focus will automatically switch back towards them, and they don't want that either. So there will almost be like, football is broken. This clearly shows that football is broken. We all need to get together now as a family and make football good again, you know? And that's probably going to be the PR approach, where UEFA put the hand around the clubs and the EPL puts its hand around the clubs and give them a bit of a slap on the wrist and says, you are bold boys. You are bold boys. Don't you ever do that again. But, you know, it's not a deduction of points. It's not relegation. It's nothing like that. It's almost like it's a reconciliation with a slight penalty, that kind of thing. It's probably what feels right to me. Now, listen, it may not work out that way, but that's, you know, I don't think it's in their best interest, anyone's best interest to do that. So, like, I can see a huge amount of FSG out coming out, and I go,
I want the question. I want the questions in the comment. Who do you want in?
Yeah, who's next? Has anyone gone out to the market there?
FSG out. Who do you want in? I mean, you know what I mean. Let's be real here. Who do you want in? Do you want a city style ownership coming in from Sheikh Mohammed, coming in from Dubai Emirates, one of these guys with oil money, who we all slag as plastic? Do you want Chelsea oligarchs coming in from Putin's Russia? Do you want another different American owner, maybe? Do you want your man who owns Amazon? You want Jeff Bezos, one of the richest men in the world? Do you want your man who owns fucking Facebook? I mean,
Bill Gates, Mark Zuckerberg.
There'd be a conspiracy about that one. But just you know what I mean? Like, who do you want? Or do you want the fans to own it? I just worked out today. If Liverpool are worth about 5 billion, that means it would every fan, you'd need 10 million fans. 10 million fans, right? To pay £500 each.
Yeah.
Am I getting that right? Yeah. That's 5 billion.
I'm going to trust you've done your maths and you've done your research before we've gone online tonight. So,
well, a thousand million is a billion.
Yeah, in the US, is it 100 million or is it the same? I don't know.
It has to be the same. We all count stars. I do anyway, astronomy wise. So it's a certain amount of stars in the galaxy. It has to be the same. But the thing about it is, I mean, it's crazy. But who did he want? Who did he want in the comments? FSG. Who do you want in? DIC. Do you remember that DIC? What DIC? They're Arabs. But they're not the Arabs consortium, DIC. Remember they put in a load of bids recently? Well,
DIC is going back fucking years.
That's you might a good few years ago, yeah. But who are they? Were they Arabs?
Has anyone checked in on Steve Morgan? How he's doing?
I don't think he's got 5 billion. Would you fuck off? He wouldn't even have 5 million, I'd say. I think it's red. What was it? Red bricks or something red anyway.
Yeah, he's a construction company.
He's a builder, wasn't he? Yeah.
He's got an MBE.
Well, that's worth 5 billion.
Shilla Wanna that Thailand. I think they're knocking about. There was a Thailand.
Oh yeah, the real long, the 25 letters in his name. That was around Hicks and Gillette time, I think, wasn't it?
It was, yeah. There's a few of them knocking about.
Sure, he was as bad. Look, I don't know what you want, guys.
What about that girl who's been trying to sell Newcastle for the last 2 or 3 seasons?
I wouldn't have that money. Liverpool's a different level. Come on. Different level. Sorry, Newcastle fans.
Listen, I'm just throwing names out there. I'm hoping other people have.
50% should go to the fans. So we get given the legacy fans, especially legacy fans.
Yeah. Maybe Linda might buy it, would it? She's probably worth about half.
Do you know what the fans should do? Imagine setting up a GoFundMe page. The legacy fans consortium.
I think somebody set up some sort of GoFundMe page over the last 48 hours, and it was at about $4,500. To be honest with you, so we have a way to go.
Maybe at the end of the universe, or maybe all the games of chess I can play, which is about 1,000 times the end of the universe. That's how many times you can play it. What would FSG be worth if fans walked away and stopped buy merch? Look, I'm not being funny, but the biggest thing in football is actually television rights. That's the biggest payout. It's television rights. It's not even merch. It's not even the fans. That's the sad fact. You know what I mean?
What you're gonna do, lads, right?
That's a sad fact.
You can't just throw out everything that's been done since they took over, right? They've really fucked up, right? And absolutely, they deserve a fucking slap. Move on. They should absolutely move on, and I'm in agreement on that. But they've done a huge amount of good work, and we're on a certain trajectory, that needs to be maintained. So you can't just throw them out and expect somebody else to walk in and kind of pick up that momentum. And that's from the top down, like that's everybody as parts of the club have been working with those guys since. So it's just not that easy to just throw them out and just say, get them out, and then expect somebody else to come in on a white charger and just take up and move on from where we are. Like, they're clever fucking guys. They fucked up. They need to move on. I absolutely agree with that. I think they've just gone way past their sell-by date with everything they've done over the last 48 hours. Absolutely. I agree with everybody. But we got to have a plan B, lads. We got to have some sort of a strategy in terms of how we move from A to B. And if we don't have one, leave it the way it is for now.
Yeah, yeah. No, listen, they know they've done the wrong now. I think they're going to try and make amends. Although, you know what I mean? As I just said to you, you make a, this is a big bollocks. This is a big fuck up now, probably in the history of football. This is one of them. This is the one we remember. We won't forget. But as I said, I'm following Liverpool since the 80s. You're similar yourself, similar vintage. I've seen some crap fucking owners. I've seen some crap teams. It hasn't stopped me following Liverpool. I did a video yesterday on Twitter, and this guy on the comments says, "Why are you wearing a Liverpool? Why are you wearing that crest? Are you not ashamed?" I says, "What the fuck are you talking? You are a legacy fan, is right. It's nothing to do with it. I've nothing against Liverpool. I've nothing against the city, the stadium, the fans, Klopp, or the management team around Klopp. It's the owners is the issue. But that's not Liverpool, guys. You have to get your priorities right. They won't be there forever. They just won't. They might need me here this summer. But you know what I mean? You're not going to fall out with Liverpool just because of the owners, eh?
No, because ultimately, they're custodians of the club. The club will pass from generation to generation to generation. And what you have is you've got a custodian of the club at a particular juncture in time. You know, and what we just need to make sure as the fan base and as, you know, people with a vested interest in the club for the very right reasons, for the absolute, you know, the proper reasons, is that those custodians are upholding the values of what we all hold dear. And they've clearly not done that. So, but simply transferring one custodian to another custodian, you know, who clearly doesn't hold the same values as we do. And you simply cannot expect somebody to come in from some other country, some other realm of life, to walk in day one having no appreciation of the values, you know, of what we hold for the club, to come in and just appreciate that and get it. You know, it takes us generations to get it. I didn't get it day one when I started following the club. I probably was 19, 20 years of age before I really got what the club was about, you know, and that's probably changed over time. So to expect somebody to walk in, an individual or a group of individuals, to get us and to simply do what's best for us as opposed to what's best for them is fucking bizarre to have that mentality. And it's fantasy. It's fantasy, right? It's fairy tale shit. You need to be realistic. Everyone needs to be realistic.
Yeah. Now, listen, when you throw emotion in as well, realism goes out the fucking window now. Let's be real. You know what I mean? And emotions are going to run high for a while, I'd say, probably till the end of this season. And then they'll probably see FSG buy 2 or 3 players and they'll probably fucking forget about it. Now, you won't. The likes of Spirit Shankly and, you know, the likes of those boys and Spy on Cop and Anfield Rapping, the boys, you know, in the city of Liverpool won't forget about it. I'm sure they won't. It was like Hicks and Gillette. And I'm sure there would have been bigger crowds out. Well, there would have been bigger crowds outside Anfield just for the fact we're in the fucking pandemic now. Let's be real. And that's another reason why I think they tried to fast track it. You know what I mean? Because there's other worries on people's minds.
Yeah. I think the writing is definitely on the wall. I think their days are numbered. I think it's going to be very difficult for them to come back from this juncture. All I'm basically saying is that, you know, they probably realise that. We realise that. Everybody realised that. Let's just make sure that everybody kind of works together to say, right, if they're going, it's under the right terms. They're happy with the terms. The next custodian coming into the club is the right custodian for the club. So to try and get some sort of engagement from that perspective, because otherwise, what are we bringing in? What are we looking for? What are we, you know, be careful what you ask for.
Yeah, no, absolutely. FSG will screw again. Mark my words, it'll end in tears. Just my opinion. Well, yeah, I mean,
I can't argue against that.
Well, yeah, but I mean, they're already, I don't know, they've already made a bollocks of it, to be fair, Keith. So I mean, as you said, I don't know where they go from here. I just don't.
I think the only way they get buy-in from the fan base to move past where they are now today is for somebody at the top needs to fall on their sword from an investment, from an involvement perspective, whether that's Werner and Henry need to kind of say, listen, lads, we fucked up royally. We're going to step away now, and it's
Red Capital, that Red Bird Capital. I'm talking about LeBron James involved and all that type of thing.
They bring in a new chairman, you know, or they bring in somebody else, somebody associated or close to the city who can come in. Where do they move? Kenny
It'd be like your man Peter Moore.
Yeah, he's gone
But
now, and you wonder why he
oh yeah,
went.
I know that. I wonder why he went. He probably knew
Yeah,
it was on the horizon. He probably knew what
you
was
know,
on the horizon.
they would do something silly like try and move Kenny up into that. So
No, I wouldn't say Kenny wasn't happy anyway. I seen something he was talking about. I'm sure he wasn't happy. But the other thing is as well is though, like I was saying it yesterday. Fans, why don't fans of all the clubs, Premier League clubs, any club, but Premier League clubs we're talking about, have some sort of representative in the club or on the board? Now, not a paid, position, but why don't they have something like that? A liaison officer or something. I think they do, Liverpool, but obviously it's not working.
They certainly did.
I mean?
They certainly did. I think they certainly did at the start when FSG came in first. There was a lot of that going on, wasn't there? With the transition from Hitchin to left, there was a lot of fan engagement and there was a lot of that stuff going on. But like, I'd question how, much that works. And if they bring in the wrong guy, they turn native, so they're not really doing that much. So I question that. But listen, the ideal thing to come out of absolutely all of this would be some sort of independent commission to come in and take a look at football as a whole.
It is going to, isn't it? Isn't it England, or isn't the government in England or Boris Johnson? They're going to bring in some new rules with ownership and everything. So it actually is backfiring.
Ownership is one thing, right? That's absolutely fine. But in terms of how fans are treated, in terms of fan access to games, in terms of fan ticket pricing, all of that stuff now should take more priority in terms of, doing due diligence in terms of who's gonna run the company, or the football club. Literally in terms of, do's and don'ts, in terms of how fans need to be treated, in terms of away games, rescheduling of matches at the last minute when people have plans have made, ticket pricing for home and away games across Europe. So you're not paying 150 quid to go see, Liverpool play Barcelona in the new camp. That kind of stuff needs to be all looked at. All of that stuff needs to be looked at before they even take a look at the ownership, if they really want to start getting fans back on side. So, hey, how's it going?
He's in the house.
How you doing, boys?
Jackie, boy, you did a video earlier. Didn't you?
Yeah, early on in the day. I was just having my tea, mate. I would have come on a bit sooner, but
he loves his tea. He fucking loves his tea. His mum makes a lovely cup of tea, by the way. But I've had a few cups of tea off your ma over there. Lovely cup of tea. Jack, me and Keith were just talking there about Liverpool going forward. Obviously, an FSG more importantly going forward. And we're more or less saying just be careful what you wish for, Jack. I mean, FSG go. Who comes in?
Yeah, it's the important thing. We've had two owners. Obviously, Hicks and Gillette were very dangerous, and we've seen where they put us to the club. And then obviously
Cowboys,
John Henry. It's all of them have been Americans, haven't they? So it's spot on there, boys, and everyone's about it's whether English football goes in the way in which German Bundesliga has gone. Obviously, in the fan-owned 50+1 rule. I think in the future, a couple of days, I think me, you, Dave, every fan will be looking at different avenues, really. And I'm going to do a lot more research. I haven't looked too much into the Bundesliga, the way it's owned, but I'm going to be doing my research on that, mate. If anyone knows a bit more about that, the Bundesliga teams, let us know in the comment section below, mate. But yeah, spot on, mate. We don't want to be in this situation again, do we? 10 years from now. It's very important that the people at the top of the club, whatever decisions they make, but that they've burnt the bridges, mate. FSG. I was on the fence with them because they done some bits of the club very well, and it was like 5 steps forward and then 10 steps backwards. Always.
You must have fell off the fence the other night.
Yeah. No, it absolutely triggered me, mate, and it made, I think, all of these lads and everyone at home, just sheer arrogance of them all, mate. I'm just sick of it. Every bit of football that is not real passion for football, as you've already mentioned tonight, boys, the ticket and pricing, the prices of shirts. I get everything goes up with inflation and the price of living and everything. It's got to be in the right manner, but it's the price and fans year on year on year out of football, and that should not be the case.
Yeah, I mean, Well, you're a legacy fan as well, Jack. So you know what I mean. I think that's the problem. The pricing. It's all money, though.
It's
at
terminology
the top of
and uses of words. That's frigging.
At the top of the tree is one word, and it's money, right? That's what it is. You've night deals coming in, money. Jerseys, kits, money. Agents, which I hate, is all about money. Owners have to make money. They're not doing it for the fun. Let's be real. You know, so it's all money.
They're playing off, right? What they're playing off with short pricing and all that is you've got a disparate fan base that's, you know, positioned around the world, and all of those fans want to have some degree of a touch point or feel associated or to proudly display their affiliation with the club, right? But they can't get to the club. 90% of them, they can't get to the game. So the only thing they have really is to buy a shirt or to buy some merchandise.
Yeah, that's what they feed off, though. That's what they feed off.
Yeah, like not everybody waits till April to buy a bit of merch. Like some of us.
Are you slagging me?
No. Some of us might buy the merch and the short sales when they come out. Of course, we don't wait for the bargain basement, but some of us do, which is perfectly fine if you want to do it that way. But you know, but so like people will pay it, and if people will pay it, they will charge it based on that. Like 120 quid for a shirt that probably costs a tenner to make is just, you know, but everybody's at it. They're all fucking at it. Like, you know, they're all at it.
You know why? Because they know they can get it. That's why.
It's because we've like been relaxed. I think every football fan's been relaxed, and we've become accustomed to it, really. And I think we've become a bit too relaxed over the last couple of years, mate. I think it's about time. I think every person, every fan, and everyone's got to. It's up to everyone's responsibility as a fan base and respecting everyone's opinions. I think Liverpool's fan base is so very knowledgeable, and don't believe. You get the odd nutter on Twitter and on social media. People even call me a nutter as well. But like. That we do understand, obviously, you've got to make money in football, yes, but there's something called taking the piss out of your fan base, and they've been absolutely taking the piss.
This is it.
Yeah,
this is it. But Jack, what happens? What happens?
What's been a joy to behold, right? What is a joy to behold, and any bit of good that's come out of the last 48 hours is still the ability of not just the Liverpool fan base, but, you know, other clubs' fan base to mobilise when they know something is going on that needs to be mobilised again. And that has been an absolute joy to behold, you know, and, you know, the fact that we can all get together and do that. But we've just done it against our own club, right? So we need to just stand up and say we've just done it against our own club. It also needs to be done, and I'm fucking banging on about this for the last couple of nights, and I'm probably boring people. But the same thing needs to be done against anybody who has any type of a vested interest in football. And that is the broadcasters. It's at a European level and it's at an international level.
Yeah, UEFA and FIFA. UEFA and FIFA are as corrupt as absolute fuck. Be real.
It just smacks the leaf the way we're coming for you, UEFA, and we're coming for Sky. We're coming for them all.
We're coming after you.
No, like the way UEFA have come out.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
and the La Liga promoting UEFA adverts. If you haven't seen it tonight,
they're as bad as each other, Jack. Let's be real.
Yeah, they've all got seats at everyone's tables, haven't they? They're all pally with each other.
Yeah, Zoom calls with a few beers.
Little cheeky 10 grand backhand there. You approve that? You say you sponsor.
We know all about it in Ireland where our FA, the chief executive, was taking backhanders all over the shop, and he only got sacked last year, Keith. We know all about it. All anywhere there's power, you know, and money, there's always be corruption. That's just the way it is.
And the next Champions League final will have 18% from both supports in the ground, and the rest will be corporate. And that's
it's been mad, isn't it? When we only had that many, when we got to 2 finals, 05 and obviously in the 07s, all the finals, it's crazy. The FA's the worst. It should be all about the fans, but all the seats are in corporates, aren't they, boys?
Yeah.
Obviously they sell lots of money, but come on, not everyone can afford a grand's worth of ticket and the expenses to go down to London or Wembley or abroad going away. Not everyone can afford that.
Yeah.
When I went over, Jack, and I met you when I was over at the Leicester game, but last in 2019, October 2019, I looked up and I was actually going to go over to where you go in and you get a meal and all that, and you know that one where you meet the player.
Hospitality one, yeah.
Hospitality. And do you know how much it would have been? I think it was 400 sterling or something. I was like, what the fuck? I only want to see the game. People would be pissed and they get my bleeding pitch anyway. You know what I mean? I was like, what? 400?
Yeah. It's mad.
You get to meet Tomo.
It's a lovely hot pie at half time, though. I hear. So you know.
Yeah, no, that's nothing better than that. That's
prawn sandwich. I would have a prawn sandwich.
That's Old Trafford. Don't do prawn sandwiches in Anfield. That's Old Trafford.
There's a legend in the chat. The Raptors in. They would have had nothing to apologise about if they'd asked permission first. Well, that's correct, Raptor. Absolutely, you're absolutely on the ball.
Point, but they'd probably show their hand. So the whole thing about this was that it went out, without anybody really knowing that it was going to go out, I suppose. So, but it's a very good point. If they'd asked permission first, well, listen, that is the thing. They've consistently gone with the whole approach that we're going to look for forgiveness rather than permission. They've consistently did that. Did it over ticket prices, did it over furlough, did it, just went out and did it, and just said, right, we'll ask for forgiveness after that. So they've consistently done that, and that is their approach.
Watching the Leeds game felt worthless. Football shouldn't make me feel like that. I know, Keith, you didn't even watch it. I mean, it was a weird feeling, wasn't it? It was a fucking weird feeling.
I've never felt that in my life, mate. It was like watching.
I don't want to feel it. I don't want to feel it again. I don't want to feel that again.
I had it on the background, but I was like, well, if we're getting knocked out or we're going to some whatever league, the fans can't do nothing about it. But thankfully, it was left over.
That reminded me.
It automatically removes, because at that point in time, we're thinking it's not going to be the same next year. And anyway, this is done. This is going to happen. It's going to happen. So the fucking jeopardy went out of that match completely, because we're like, it's like a fucking dead rubber, because it could mean nothing next year. That match could mean absolutely nothing next year.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah. I didn't even bother me when the goal went in, the equaliser. I was like, oh, well, I actually did. I did a reaction on Twitter. Funny, I went, Liverpool are 1-0 up against Leeds. Great goal by Sadio Mane. That was it. That was the reaction. Fucking, do you know what it's like? It's like going to a Debs or a prom with a girl you don't like. That's what it was like. Oh, for fuck's sake! No, I mean, it was just terrible. It was really terrible.
That happened to you in this game. That happened to you often. That was
happened twice.
Do you want to talk about something? Yeah.
Oh, for fuck's sake! Yeah. But listen. Hopefully Newcastle will be a belter, as they say. Yeah, but they'll be all wearing T-shirts at that. Don't worry. I think Liverpool should wear T-shirts. We are the legacy fan players. The legacy players.
We're going to be behind the team. We're going to be behind the players. The players came out unanimously.
That's what I'm saying. Jordan Henderson especially deserves a big shout.
They all did pretty much, So listen, we'll be behind the club, or behind the team and behind the players on Saturday. No matter what you say about that, there'll be no issue.
The Raptor always comes. Well, I haven't seen him in a long time. The Raptor's coming in with a bit of. There ain't no one as dishonest as the dishonest one. Me nan told me that one. The Raptor, some boy, that fella. But I tell you, what's her name, Dave? Fuck off, will you? I'll tell you her name. Disappointment was her name. But listen, it is a wake-up call. Listen, if we can take positives out of this negative, recharge and go for Wednesday or for Saturday, we'll be a battery, basically. But if we can beat Newcastle, I'm not saying to be forgotten about, but I just want to watch a game that I can feel something for on Saturday. You know what I mean? And try make it be something that fucking you want us to.
The other thing about it is that every team that's probably played against us up until now have been playing against the champions. So an additional 10%. There's going to be an additional 10-15% fucking lobbed on every other team we play.
Every team now.
So you don't need to motivate the lads before any match. You just kind of go, lads, you know what we need to do to these pricks. Let's go in and fucking tear it into them. So we're going to have to deal with that and rise above that for the remainder of the fucking season. We don't have to do it against United, which is grand, right? But everybody else is going to be playing against us.
What is that, Sunday week? That's not far away. 1st of May. That's Sunday week or Saturday week, Sunday week. I mean, that's going to be an interesting one, that one,
I
isn't
hope
it?
both clubs make a statement, the players and the manager, to their owners, because that would be huge. Two biggest clubs in world football and European football. I think they might have something up the sleeve.
Well, look at United's situation. They've wanted those fellas out for about 10 fucking years. 10 years. They've had marches, they've had GoFundMes, they've had everything. They've been trying to break the Glazers' windows. Do you like that? But it hasn't worked. Do you know what I mean? And so that hasn't worked.
They've had somebody fall on their sword. That Woodward effectively fell on their sword, which pretty much does to a degree.
Yeah, that's only yesterday. I'm on about last 10 years. They've been on about getting the Glazers out. Every time I see a United fan channel getting
this is all about managing the first couple of days, then the next week, and then the second week, and before you know it, things start to settle down a bit. So this is like crisis management from their perspective. So the first thing they've done in terms of crisis management is pop the boil by Woodward going out the door. That's the first thing they've done. There'll now be a series of different things that come out, right, in terms of, they're contrite about in terms of what they've done and what they're going to do to improve and all this kind of stuff. And it's all just lads that be managed within an inch of its fucking life over the next couple of weeks. And then before you know it, there's a couple of matches that come up, and then all of a sudden then, the interest shifts slightly left or slightly right. We're all still there. We want you gone. But it's not as vociferous. It's not as focused. It's not as intense. It dies down because we know what, we all get on with our fucking lives, and we all get on with other bits and pieces.
I just think that this wound was quite deep. This was quite a deep wound. This won't be forgotten that easy. I can't say
it. It is definitely the start of the end. I don't think the other two things. I don't think furlough was. I think it was a bit of a chink in the armor. The same thing with ticket prices was a chink in the armor. This definitely feels like the start of the end, although we are at the start of the end as opposed to at the end. There's a little bit more.
I know what you mean. It could take a year or two, though. I mean, by the time you get the decent buyers in, it could take a year.
I think it probably should, and I think that would be proper if it did take a period of time. And there's no knee-jerk reactions here by anybody to get out and sell cheaply, early to somebody who's completely not appropriate to what we want going forward.
It's all about obviously the recruitment and obviously the siphoning through obviously the applications of potential owners, and it's all to do with the top of the FA and the Premier League and what owners you do get into the Premier League as well. There's got to be certain regulations put in place off the back of this now. Correct legislation really has to be.
I think there is something coming in, isn't there?
Yeah, there needs to be something.
But Jack, as I said, and even what's in this comment here about fans maybe having a bit more of a say, you're like a spokesman or a liaison officer from the club that talks to a fan, not say a fan channel, but a fan group or whatever. It's for every Premier League club should have a little, spokesman maybe from the fans, something like that.
It's something so simple, but that should have been implemented 20 years ago, mate. I don't know why it's took so long now, really, to implement that potential of any club.
I don't know if it was Shankly or there was definitely, liaison at the start and the transition between Hicks and Gillette over to FSG. There was definitely involvement there at that start during that transition period, and it obviously just petered out over a period of time. The other thing you need to be careful about, and we spoke about it earlier on, is that you bring the wrong person in and they go native. They all of a sudden then they become more corporate. So it's difficult to maintain that over a long period of time. I think it's a fantastic idea, but it's very difficult for them to really have that much sway in terms of the direction of that. And you'd like to think that that's why Kenny is still there, and that's why some of the other guys are still there, to maintain that degree of connection with the fan base, but obviously he knew nothing about this. So if a chairman and his number two decide to take a complete fucking flyer at something like this and not inform anybody within the organisation, having as many fan base representatives, they'd have been the last to know, by the way. They would absolutely be the last to know with situations like that. So they'd be involved to a degree, but that's pretty much it. So I don't know. It sounds almost like something that would be a nice to have, as opposed to something that really is realistic in terms of how modern football is governed. I don't know.
But the thing about it is what I would think. Jackie, you having another cup of tea? Yeah? I seen something being passed down there. What? Hope it's a beer, by the way.
It's me runners. It's me It's me runners
What,
for
you going
the show.
somewhere? Where you
I'm
going?
upgraded. No. No, it's me mum. My mum's bringing in me little
Fuck's
it's a
sake.
glass of
We're not
water.
going to stay on much longer anyway, boys. What were you
No,
doing? An hour
I'm
already?
going to have to drop off now. I've got some duties to attend to.
Right,
So
Keito. I'll
Okay.
talk to you before a Newcastle game anyway, yeah?
yeah, fantastic. I had to come in on my phone this evening, so
See you
I
later,
haven't
Keith.
seen.
Jeez, I'll tell you what, it looks super clear. You must do that in the future. It looks fucking...
Aye, spot on, man.
Yeah. So I haven't seen much of the comments or chats. So
Look back
so
over it.
apologies.
They're interesting.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to catch up with them straight afterwards once I get the kids down. So listen, lads. Good luck. Take care. Talk to you soon.
See you, Keito. Cheers.
Spot on, lad. Yeah.
But as I say, we've been out for an hour, Jack, and at the very start of it, we were talking about you freezing. Jack's after freezing. I think he's eating it. You froze, yeah. No, you're okay now. You've unfroze.
Right, I'll go into the computer so I'm not freezing, lad.
Yeah, you are freezing.
You never know. You never know the weird positions I'll end up in, lad. Right, I'll be back in a sec, mate. I'll just go on my laptop.
Solidarity to you guys from a Southampton fan. The good thing about the whole fiasco is that all fans of all clubs have come together in a common cause. Absolutely godless scummer. I love the name, baby. It is. I mean, I've got messages from Chelsea fans, from Leeds fans, Leicester City, Lee Chappie from Leicester City, the Vardy lookalike. He was actually meant to come on tonight. I sent him a message, but he's always busy. He's always doing something. You know, the fans had nothing to do with it. The fan base had nothing to do with it. Even Klopp had nothing to do with it. The players had nothing to do with it. Anfield Stadium had nothing to do with it. This was a decision by the billionaire bubble owners. That's it. That's all. It was the decision. I don't even think some CEOs knew about it, apparently. That's the key, because it goes to the boil, then they're back to square one, says Raptor. Yeah, absolutely. But it's I'll tell you, it is going to be absolutely very interesting next few weeks, isn't it? It is going to be interesting. Will there be a bit of punishment from the Premier League? Will there be punishment from UEFA, FIFA, whatever you want to call it? Who, to be fair, UEFA haven't got a leg to stand on the way they treat fans and the way they treat things, you know. So let's be real. But what's going to happen to Champions League? Will it still be played with the likes of Madrid, Chelsea, City in it? PSG weren't in the cabal, but I'm sure they were in the background. Europa League, Arsenal, United still in it? Will they just leave it? Let it go? Bit of a slap. Don't do it again, boys. It'll certainly be interesting, Dave. Willow, nice seeing you. The Anfield Lark, Helen Rayball, Seamus Moore, Raptor is in the house, the Rapmeister, Mark Forrest. Absolutely great having you guys in. Absolutely brilliant. Jason Irish Red. We had a nice little comment from a Southampton fan. Godless scummer. I love the name. Willow. Look, I don't know where we go from here. I just don't know. The damage has been done by FSG. There's no doubt about that, and it won't be forgotten. I think their time will certainly be on a TikTok, whether they go this summer or next summer. You know, I don't think they'll just go like that, obviously, but it'll take time. There's so much invested in Liverpool. I think the original plan would have been for FSG to go in 3 or 4 years, or maybe when Klopp goes in 2024. And for Redbird Capital, who bought a 10% stake, to possibly take over, you know, in 2 or 3 years. I think that was the plan. But whether that still goes ahead, I don't know. FIFA, UEFA, etc. are all fucking shitting themselves for losing their ill-gotten gains. They do anything to lose out. Beware. Yeah, but that's what I'm saying, Raptor. UEFA, FIFA, FA, Premier League, Sky Sports, BT, whatever you want to call them. They're all money grabbers. They're all money grabbers. Nike are money grabbers. The price of jerseys, the price of stuff, the price of kits, especially for kids, crazy. Jack's back. Jackie boy is back in the house. Hold on, Jackie boy. You must have been watching Frozen before you came on, weren't you?
I know, my phone was on low battery, lad. Sorry about that.
I've done that before. I was in an interview with James Pearce, one of my first interviews back before Christmas, and the fucking laptop died. Oh, fucking embarrassed it was. Oh, fair play to him. He came back on 10 minutes later. Raptor, nice seeing you, bro. I haven't seen you in a long time. The Rapmeister is in the house. Thanks for dropping in. All the usual regulars are in. Seamus Moore as well. Mark Forrest. But Jack, what do we do? Where do we go from here? What do we do? Where does the Premier League and UEFA go from here? Do they slap? Do they say? I don't think UEFA are going to do anything. I was listening to the president or the vice president today, more or less saying they made a mistake. They're sorry. Move on. I don't think UEFA have a leg to stand on because they're probably afraid the Premier League will come back and say, hold on for a second. What have you been doing wrong? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we know UEFA know that the fans are going to come for them eventually, and I think everyone will, and rightly so, because obviously the formatting that and the legislation they're trying to do with their format of the new competition, they are currently in the process. I don't know if it's went fully through yet, but I think that's coming up in the coming weeks. The implementation, obviously the bigger leagues and the more matches in which they'll be playing. It just means more money for the big fat cats, really, in European game, which is sad, but that needs to be looked at.
It's the way of the world. I mean, it's capitalism or whatever you want to call it. I mean, how are you meant to stop that? Look, I don't know how you stop. They just take the money elsewhere, Jack. They don't give a shit. I mean, you know already, they don't give a shit about the fan. They don't care about the fans, so they can easily just take that money and bring it back to America or Dubai or wherever they're coming, or Russia or wherever they're coming from. Yeah. Dave, ask John Henry for an interview.
If only.
Horrid Henry, that's what I call him. Horrid Henry. That's a cartoon out, by the way. It's quite good.
Yeah, and that's one point as well. And Jan Verlaerts mentioned it's important. They don't do many interviews, do they? I know they're all media trained, and they don't want to say because they tell you if you had
the wrong thing after making a bollocks of the first thing, do they?
Like it just shows literally if the ordinary fan sat down with John Henry, started asking him about Liverpool Football Club,
never happened.
John Henry wouldn't even have a clue what he's talking about.
If you were sitting down with him, you'd be given the questions to ask.
Yeah,
you'd be given by them the 10 questions. Yeah. And anyway, it wouldn't be live; it'd be edited. So if you didn't like the answer,
he's like, you can't say that question. Why not?
Would you stop it? It never happened. You know, I mean, I was actually Monday. Let's say Monday when it broke Friday, it broke Sunday, but I didn't get much sleep like you Sunday night. But I was like a zombie going around Monday because it was more real on Monday. If you know what I mean. Because we had a game. No, because we had a fucking game against Leeds, which was secondary, which should have been the first thing on your mind. Getting ready for a post-match, pre-match, checking the starting 11. Didn't give a fuck about the game. That's the problem.
Bloody crazy, mate.
Are City losing at the moment against Villa? 1-0 down. They were 1-0 down.
Let's have a look. Yeah, Tottenham got their results. Mason obviously was sad what happened on the pitch.
2-1, was it?
Yeah, they won. Stupid.
They were losing 1-0.
It was a stupid foul by the Southampton player. De Geppo, I think it was. It was so tight. The tight penalty, but it was the right decision. But yes, that's a big result for Spurs. And obviously Daniel Levy giving Jose Mourinho all that money.
It's 1-1. Foden has scored. It's 1-1. There's only 20 minutes gone in that game. 22 minutes, 28 minutes. It's 1-1. City will probably come back and win that. Yeah. But look, it's strange. Look, Jack, we will look back on 2020 and 2021. We're in a pandemic, 100-year pandemic. It's fucking strange as fuck. I mean, still strange in Ireland where I am. I can't even go out for a pint. At least you can. I can't. I still can't. The last point I would have had anywhere was on Christmas Eve. Yeah. Outdoors, I mean. You know what I mean, though? And it's just, the only good thing for me is I'm still working, and I've worked more or less right through it, which helps. I think I'd go mad if I was at home. But it's just what we've been living through in the last 13, 14 months. Throw in, we've won the league for the first time in 30 years. We couldn't celebrate it properly. Let's believe this now as a Liverpool fan. It took 30 years to win it, and then you can't celebrate it when you win it properly. You can't go outside the ground. You can't go to the matches. You can't get the crack. You can't, all this comes in, and then this shit hits the fan. Fuck, and the season we've had, I just couldn't think this season could get any worse.
Don't say that. Touch wood.
It's been a fucking nightmare.
Yeah, it's been a nightmare.
It won't get any worse. This is a million. It's a fucking disaster of a season.
Yeah.
And it just got worse yesterday. Now, slightly better today because they pulled out. But Jesus Christ. I don't want to live this season again.
Yeah, no. And obviously, there's been no official statement from UEFA in regards, and the Premier League not yet, in terms of any potential sanctions upon these 6 clubs. I think whatever happens, and it's sad that it will be the fans and the managers and the players that will be getting impacted. It's always the fans and the players, and Jurgen, he's the forefront of Liverpool Football Club. They're all going to be taking the brunt for the people at the top of the club, and obviously same for Manchester United, Arsenal, and all the other big clubs.
Well, Billy Hogan is the CEO. I think he was the commercial manager. He was commercial manager at United, I think, and then Liverpool took him because when Peter Moore left the course. But will he step down? Will he? I don't know.
I'd hope he would. Because there's a big stark contrast between Peter Moore. He was very good.
Peter. I don't think Peter Moore would have been involved in this. Do you?
No. He wouldn't have let that stand. That's why he's probably out the door.
I say he probably heard whispers of it and said, "I'm getting fucking out of here." Hence
why he left.
That's what I mean.
These plans weren't drawn up overnight. They were planned.
Oh yeah, this is a few months. This is a few months, yeah.
And that's probably part of his deal. He was like, "No, I'm not going to sit here and because he was doing a very good job, and I don't understand why he left. Obviously, might have left for personal terms and moving back to America or whatnot. But he was a great ambassador for the club. He actually got the fans. Obviously, with his dad being a docker anyway, and a massive supporter of the club, and him growing up. Even though he was over in the States, but he still lived and breathed Liverpool.
Yeah, they're absolutely loving that shirt you have on there, Jack. I keep saying it here. Look, Irish Red, Jason Irish Red, King Kenny. Is written on the back of it, or is it?
I'm not so sure.
1892. No. I love that little 1892 founding date on your shoulder there.
Yeah, just on the Liverpool shop, really, everyone. I think it was last year's one. I think you might still have them in the shop, everyone. Just check it out.
Oh, is it a genuine, like a Liverpool FC shop? Yeah.
Yeah, one of the very rare things of all from the club. But yeah, it's not too bad.
Raptors saying kick them while they're down, as they say. But I just can't see. As I said earlier, at the start of this, who do you get in? FSG goes. Who comes in, Jack? It's not that easy. There's a lot of money involved.
Even if that was the case, they would not make it easy, would they? Everyone, they would not make it easy. No. They've got all legal teams minted. It's going to be a process. It's going to be a very slow process, but we've got to continue to That's,
I'd say the blue side were smiling across Stanley Park yesterday. Were you?
Yeah.
I say they were smiling.
Oh, them? Yeah.
Well, it's smiling in a way, but it, as I said earlier, it wasn't the fans. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't see any fan coming out for it. I don't think I've seen any fan.
Yeah.
Coming out for it.
I had a lot of me Everton mates. Well, my mate Tom, he's a big blue that he betted as well, but he coming to realization when he was on my show. You were on it, Dave, as well, and everyone got involved. The football and family got together, and it's the start of something very big within football. And I think every fan knows that wherever club you do support, it's we've started a war with football. Well, the owners have, and with all the fans and everyone involved within every avenue of football. But we continue to fight, and it's about supporting one another, and then just not letting them get away with it. That's the big aspect. They will try and forget it. I'm not going to be buying into transfers if they throw transfers in. Transfers are a big, massive part of why football is the way it is. They could throw a couple of signings at us. Whoever it is, I could not give two tosses, really. What is more important is the correct running of the football club, because I know exactly what they're going to do. They're going to go, oh, right, here's another load of signings. Forget about it.
Oh yeah. They're gonna bring in.
Yeah.
They're gonna bring in a big star name. I'm telling you.
And just
in
like,
the summer to try mask over it. A big £100 million sign. I'm telling you, Sancho. I heard Sancho being mentioned twice today.
Yeah.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, I'm just hoping
I heard it from a few people.
I'm just no one forgets it. Really, what you've done.
No, you won't. But Jack is what I'm saying. 70-80% will forget. I've already seen it on Twitter. Buy Mbappe or buy this and we'll forget about it, or I'll be happy. I'll let you away with it. But that's irony. That's where you're talking about money.
Yeah,
but you have to have money to buy the likes of Mbappe or Sancho or Haaland. Where the fuck do you get the money from? So, you're talking about money in the game. That's the irony. That's your irony fucking there.
Yeah.
But like the key would be to do as the Rapmeister said. The key would be to go something like 50% plus 1 is 51. With someone like FSG having 49. How about that? But yeah, we've said about that maybe. But the thing about it is, I think Red Bird Capital are planning on doing that. They've already bought 10%, and I think year on year was their plan to go another 10, another 15. You know what I mean? But eventually get 51.
But we don't know, none of us really, unless there's a financial analyst out there that's a Red that can really enlighten us about what they are as a company. And obviously, are they built up with companies, or are they just one independent backed organisation? Whatever it is, but what we don't want is when everyone's been spot on, top of the show, as you were going on at the top of the show, you and the lads, Keith, yeah. It's important that we don't fall for the same trap, if you get me. Yeah.
No, but that's what I mean. So you just at the very start of the show, as we said, you just got to be careful what you wish for. You know what I mean? Okay, let's say FSG left in the summer and some oil group or whatever took over, a hedge fund. Come on, you could strip the bleeding club of its assets. Let's be fair here. You know what I'm saying? You want to be careful. So definitely FSG shouldn't get away with it, which they won't, because most of the fan base, the legacy fans, won't let them away with it. Let's put it that way. The famous legacy fans, you know what I mean? That's what they're calling us, Jack. You know what that means, don't you? Here's a deep philosophical question. If a Super League falls in the woods and Tottenham are the only team left, will they bottle it? Absolutely. And you won't hear them. And you won't hear them screaming. You won't hear them screaming either. Because we all know about the famous philosophical question that if a tree falls in the woods, does it really fall? Does it exist? I mean, basically, if I can't see behind me, is it really there? I don't know. Can you answer that one? Does Australia exist? I don't know. I've never been there. Here's your answer. So, let's be real here.
Yeah,
Exactly.
probably because you can hear them.
Does an Everton trophy exist? Not since 95, baby. Not since 95. But as I said, yeah, I think they're going to go. Jack, we've said it. We've been on a lot of podcasts recently. We've done loads in the last, 2 months. I thought this was going to be a big summer for FSG. It's even bigger now. It's even bigger now.
In every way.
But but that's what I mean. They're being forced now. The guns to their head now. They've got to fucking do something this summer. Maybe there isn't Mbappe coming, or just to appease the appeasers in the fan base, basically. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, he was what's on there. Big summer. Big summer.
That's what I'm saying. Big summer. Yeah, but Dave, we can see behind you. I'm not. Yeah, I might even be real. You know what I mean? Let's be real. I might be real. I could be a hologram. Do you ever see The Matrix?
Oh yeah, I love The Matrix.
Welcome back.
Welcome back,
Mr. Anderson. Mr. Jack Meister. Welcome back. It's absolutely. Dave, you sound like a flat earther. Absolutely not a flat earther. When I was 5, I had a telescope and I studied fucking astronomy, you lunatic. I loved it. Don't talk about quantum physics, and definitely not a flat earther, no. Bob from the future. If you ever used to watch the videos I used to make 2 years ago, this is Bob from 2082. And he used to wear a mask, if you remember. He got that right. The coronavirus is still here in 2082. So like that was a big thing. But I'm going to go soon, Jackie boy. But
Yeah, good luck.
what are your final thoughts? I mean, where do we go? I mean, obviously Newcastle at Anfield on Saturday. It's a Saturday. I think it's Saturday. My mind's all in a mush. I think we just listen. The players just gotta fucking win the game, and I think the Leeds game the other night was like our season. Good first half, shite second half.
It helped with Chelsea dropping points. I know that was massive. Obviously, a couple of teams hopefully debut in and around us, but we're asking quite a lot. But the lads and the managers and us really have just got to focus on the football. Obviously, we've got to focus on the big important issues within our football club as well. We're not going to forget about that. But at the current meantime, just focus at one game at a time, mate, and just got to get behind our lads, the people that deserve our support. As always, as we always do, just get behind the lads and get behind the manager, because over the last 24 hours, they were our voice for the actual people that could not be heard. Obviously, the fans made themselves aware, but from what you heard and from behind closed doors, Henderson, Milner, really just putting the fingers up to FSG and going, what are you doing? Like, honestly, like, and that just, I just love Henderson, mate. Like, he's such a great organizer. Like,
do you know the thing about Henderson? He makes the right decisions.
Yeah.
At the right time.
Yeah.
That's the sign of a real leader, captain, whatever you want to call it. It's making the decisions, the right decisions at the right time. On the pitch, off the pitch, I'm talking about here. You know, I'm not even on about on the pitch. I'm on about off the pitch. Make the right decisions at the right time and says the right thing. You know what I'm saying? That's what a captain should do.
We've missed his leadership, and it's so evident in everyone on the pitch this season. Hopefully, he comes back touchwood fully fit for next season. But yeah, spot on, everyone.
Are you a Legacy fan, Jack?
I think I'd be.
I think you are. I think I'll have you in that bracket. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Does anybody know the definition of a Legacy fan? In the comments. What's your definition of a Legacy fan? What is it? 10 years, 20 years, 50 years?
Yeah, Legacy fan. Hang on. Yeah, everyone put you. I won't say it just without Googling. I know I'm Googling cheating. Like, but,
and another. I want another. Okay, come on. You can read it out, Jack. Legacy fan.
On the Independence, European League shows football is not the owners. Mostly the
Are you a PlayStation fan?
The deep and unshakable sung, the soundtrack, painted and backdrop of enduring memories. This history is not for sale, and the fans of the future. So basically, people that
it's a long-term fan. Let's be real. You know, it's not 2 or 3 years or even 5. It's probably a 10, 20-year job.
Yeah.
That's what I always thought it was. But I'm just saying.
Yeah.
As I said before, it's like when you have a mobile phone. If you have a good, expensive iPhone or whatever it is, or Samsung, and you go in to change it in an off-street, say a Vodafone type place, and you're on a 2-year contract, and you've been with Vodafone for maybe 10 years, you're a Legacy fan to them, or Legacy customer. They don't give a shit about you. They only care about new customers, and you're the only one getting a fucking iPhone 12. You won't get it if you're a 10-year customer. You'll get it if you're a new fan walking in off the street.
Aye.
There you go.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That's fucking bullshit. 53 years has wrapped their look. Jeez, we're getting old now. I'd say 25. I'm from 61. What's the Rapmeister saying? I'm from 61, supported since 66, so I'm defo. You're a super Legacy, baby. You're super Legacy. You're super Legacy. This godless scummer. Absolutely, the players, managers, the fans of any of the 6 clubs involved should not be hated by anyone. The greedy owners who have treated football fans like shit are to blame. Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly what we've been talking about. It's not even the fans. It's not even Anfield Stadium. It's not Klopp. It's not the players. So that's why the other night outside Leeds, you can understand the Leeds fans, but they ran out, or even some of the, I think some Liverpool fans outside Leeds, running after the coach, or wearing T-shirts, nothing to do. I know they were trying to send a message to Liverpool as wearing the T-shirts. No real harm wearing T-shirts, but I mean, it's just, do you know what, Jack? We give it the hour and a half, 5-6 minutes, and we call it a night. What do you think?
Yeah, it's spot on that.
But I can't wait to get Legacy Fan on the back of the jersey.
I honestly can't wait until fans are allowed back in. I honestly hope the cop has a big, massive banner saying Legacy Fans, just to take the piss. The whole cop just has a big, massive banner. Shove your Legacy Fan up your ass.
Well, you know what Legacy Fan was your man Perez, Florentino Perez, and that other wanker, Angelino, whatever his name is, from Juventus. You know the one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
They had the meeting, whatever meeting they have with the other 12 clubs I'm talking about, not just this 6, but the 12. We're talking about fans worldwide, trying to get new fans from America and Africa and Asia. But the Legacy fans, let's say in the UK, because the long term, you know, or other fans, even me in Ireland, Legacy fans, 20, 30 years following them. They're only Legacy fans. We want the new fans. Most of the kids from 18 to 26 or 24 playing the PlayStation now, they've no real interest.
Yeah.
They might buy the odd jersey. But that's what they were talking about.
I don't even know where they got this data from, mate. It's absolutely mad. Like, these people running football are on an absolute different level of planet to every single one of us, and it's scary that they're running football.
But I mean, like, it's no coincidence that it's 6. As Raptor says, it's 6 people, which he means the 6 owners are the ones that should be, you know, getting slapped. Let's talk about six owners. Let's talk about FSG. Let's talk about all the trophies, all the medals that may be. Let's get rid of the 6. But we'll see. I mean, I just don't know. You know, for me,
they need to go, mate. And it's a matter of when.
2-1 City. There you go.
Yeah, that's a big result for City anyway.
Well, it's not a result. I think it's not even half time.
Oh, is it not even half time?
No, it was only 28 minutes. It was 1-1.
Oh yeah. But no.
Jack, I mean, what's your plan for the rest of the week? If you want to shout out, you'll have a few shows. Obviously, Newcastle on Saturday. So.
Well, I'll try and get it on, Dave. I think I might go live tonight, possibly for. But no, I think I'll go live tomorrow. Everyone, obviously, I've tried to do me pre-recorded videos, and on match days I will try and do me live stream watch-alongs or live instant match reaction. That's the easiest way. But yeah, thank you for having me on, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely. Jack Mack LFC. Check Jack out on YouTube and Twitter as usual. I had Keith in earlier on, of course, as well. At Ethan Ryan on Twitter, guys. My energy's just been fucking. I actually got a bit of a Red Bull boost in the last 24 hours because of what happened, but it was fucking sapped yesterday and on Monday. You were in bits as well, Jack. Didn't get much sleep. You know what I mean?
I was so like every single one of us was. I didn't even speak to anyone apart from you, Dave. And my dad.
Does Tom Werner have a role in this? I would absolutely say so.
Oh, they all have fingers in pies, don't they? All of them, every single one of them. But yeah.
City 10 men. What was it? Send it off.
Ooh, City 10 men.
That's what Mark Forrest is saying.
Oh, that's interesting.
I'm going to watch the second half of that. What do you think, Jackie boy?
Yeah.
Lads, absolutely brilliant. Jack Mack LFC and Keith, who came on earlier as well. We're an hour and a half in. My voice is gone. Listen, lads, we all love Liverpool. We love the club. You know what I mean? It's not about the owners. It's about the club. We'll still support Liverpool. I'll still do a few shows. People were telling me yesterday, will you get rid of Dave's LFC chats? I says, no, I'll be calling it Dave's Legacy chats. But I mean, I'm not going to get rid of it. It's Liverpool. I've followed them 35 years. You think I'm going to give up because of some dodgy owners? No chance.
Yeah, no, we started this for our passion,
chance.
mate, didn't we, mate? I had the boss opportunity of meeting you, Dave, on the power of the internet.
We had lunch in the boot room. We had lunch in the boot room in Anfield. Remember that?
Shame we didn't see John Henry because we would have let him know. But yeah, no, it's the beauty of social media, mate. The great aspects. Speaking to all my subscribers, your subscribers, the Liverpool family.
They're probably the same people. They're all the same people in here.
Yeah, no, it's amazing.
Oh, that's the same people you see here. They always show up.
And
Rod Meta's in from Australia. I hope he's eating his croissant and coffee there. Rod is in from Australia. It's probably in the morning time. He's on his way to work. It's
nice weather.
I still got a lovely 10-hour sleep, Rod. Hard luck. Oh yeah, you lads are a good combo. Do you like that? The Dave and Jack combo.
Oh, it's a classic, innit? It's like getting Rushy and
Dave
Kenny.
show. The Jack and Dave show.
Rushy and Kenny back together anyway. It's like we started off together, really, didn't we, mate?
Well, yeah, I started, would have been with Liverpool Football Talk with Sean, and then we got in contact with you about 2 years ago, and we haven't looked back.
It's flew by. A lovely relationship.
Who said that?
Oh, yeah. Good night.
Listen, did you know what I find is great? As you said, the likes of yourself, and you've Keith coming in, you've Copite lads, Coppish lads. There's so many Liverpool channels out there. There's Yanks of the Cop, the Zane out in our own, Doug out Football Channel, Liverpool Football Talk, Conor the Cop Council. I mean, obviously you've got MNTV and Anfield Rap and all those boys. They're the big boys. They're different level boys. But Abbott and Costello. Fucking Laurel and Hardy. Rod, 4 a.m. Oh my God. And he's watching us. Are you fucking mad?
Rod, you absolutely.
He got up to watch us. We have to give him another minute or two, Jack, for that appreciation show.
Yeah, spot on there, Rod. Hope you have a good day anyway, matey.
There you go. I told you, Laurel and Hardy.
We'll bring our hats and suits on in next stream, man.
Who was it? Batman and Robin.
Yeah, I'll be Robin.
You're Robin. You're fucking Robin me. No, but who's a good duo? Who's a good duo? I'm trying to think. The Chuckle Brothers, Cameron. I love that. That's not bad.
Torres and Gerrard's the combination between them.
Rush. It's a Rush job. Aldo and Rush, remember that?
Yes. Oh.
I'm trying to think of a cartoon duo. Tom and Jerry. Tom and Jerry. I mean, there's some great. Oh yeah. I mean, I'm finishing the show here. Do you know what I'll do for the last 2 minutes? I'm gonna shout this out to the comments, right? Ant and Deck. I'm gonna shout this to the comments. Okay, comment. I want the comments answers. I'm gonna ask you as well, Jack, just before we go. Okay, I'm gonna give you 2 pills. It's like the Matrix: the red pill and the blue pill, right? In the red pill is FSG. We keep them, give them a slap, and they stay for another few years. On the blue pill, FSG go probably in the summertime, and they sell the club, and someone else comes in who we don't know anything about. Do you take the red pill? Do you take the blue pill? Red pill is FSG. Blue pill is anybody. Anybody can guess. Ren and Stimpy.
Oh, fucking hell.
What the fuck? It's a cartoon, I think, isn't it? Ren and fucking Stimpy. The blue pill. Oh my God, the blue pill's coming up.
Yeah, it comments.
Blue pill. Seamus Moore, Jexter, Cameron.
Hopefully,
Helen, we're all going blue. We're all turned into Everton fans here. The blue pill, baby.
Yeah,
wow.
No, yeah.
So, Jack, you got blue pill?
You know me answer before I've even said it. Blue pill.
Right. Take them both. Take them both. Take them both.
See
That's what I would do. Well, yeah. I suppose you could say the blue pill can take 51% and let FSG at 49%.
Yeah, ID.
Because 51 would take the club, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Raptor, great seeing you, bro. Helen as usual. Mark Forrest, Jegster, Cameron, Seamus Moore, Royston, Whitehurst. There's so many in tonight. It was really unbelievable. Mark Forrest as usual. Eamon Kelly. Viagra, says Eamon Kelly. The blue pill isn't Viagra, by the way.
No.
Oh, for fuck's sake. McAteer, Anfield Rap, or the Anfield Rap, I was going to say. That's your combo, McAteer. I'm McAteer, you can be McManaman. But,
when it goes to Real Madrid.
Oh, for fuck's sake. He's brutal on the commentary, isn't he? He was a great player and all, but my Jesus. He was brutal on the commentary. Jack, I think we'll call it a night. Jack Mack LFC. Look, his man touched him, or his dad touched him on the shoulder there. He's live all over the world. He's live all over the world here.
Yeah.
The Rapmeister. Thank you very much. Boys, Jack's been dragged off here. We're live. Stay safe. Jack, stay safe, my friend. Talk to you. Keith was on earlier. Woo!
That's
Say
it.
hello. Put your head in. That's your man.
It's the chief cook and bottle washer.
It's John Henry. I'm waiting.
How are you? Hopefully you're well. You're live. You can come in and say hello here. Anyway, guys, stay safe. Talk to you soon. This